Welcome back to part 2 of Jimmy Jag's UK adventure. We got through last week by the skin of my teeth thanks to a schoolboy error on my part. Join us this week as we meet Andrew Hawley and his absolutely amazing collection of ultra rare cars. Fair warning, we are going full car nerd in this episode because the chances are you will never see these cars in real life. I certainly haven't seen most of them, and these specific examples are even rare versions of the rare things they already are. That being said, let's get to it. What an absolute gentleman of a man this guy is. This is Andy. We met last night, didn't we?
Yes,
I was travelling to Land's End, and I needed a little bit of a nap. Woke up, got a coffee, and this that you'll see him in, we're sitting outside. I actually pulled the Jag next to him and I was like, "Is that your car?" I was like, "Your car?" And he was like, "Yeah, really excited to tell me about it."
And likewise, I saw your Jag as well, so it was nice to see, because you don't see them very often.
And I think the mini trumps it a little bit. But yeah, we'll have a quick look around and we'll have a chat and see what he's got. He's got a nice collection. He's invited us around today. So where do you want to start?
We'll start with this one. This is a Mark III Wolseley Hornet, 1968.
Nice.
Wolseley was an independent car manufacturer.
I was going to say, I didn't even know what one is.
Up until 1969, when it merged with other manufacturers to form BMC. Basically, this is a posh version of a Mini, and everyone used to call it the Mini with a boot.
Nice.
Wolseley was very much Mini based, except it's got a different grille and obviously the boot at the back. They were very much luxurious inside, with walnut dashes and very posh seats.
Oh, yeah.
So
wow, look at that.
So they were very much the one-upmanship on the day of what a Mini was being sold for, because these were a little bit more expensive.
That's pretty special.
This has been fully restored to original specification. It's got original engine and gearbox, and the seats have all been recovered, and everything else is completely original.
Wow.
Including the colour. You always have a two-tone.
How much would they be worth these days?
These are selling quite, in comparison to Minis, early Minis, these are selling quite cheap. These are going between £7,000, £8,000, £9,000 in this sort of condition.
Okay.
Whereas when you consider
If you can find one.
a Mark 1 Mini,
Yeah.
they're starting now at sort of 14,000.
Okay, because they're more popular, more well known.
Exactly. And then obviously next to it, we've got a 1954
split screen as well.
Minor.
We used to have one.
This is the last waterfall dashboard Morris Minor in the United Kingdom.
Really? Wow.
This is chassis number 285888, and at 286,000 they went over to the dashboard being put into the middle rather than one side.
Okay.
I'll just see through the window, if you go up a bit further. You can see that the speedo is in front of the driver.
Yeah.
And where the speedo normally is, you've got this grille section, which is known as a waterfall dashboard.
Okay.
That was purely done because the success rate of the exports from Morris became more expensive to keep chopping and changing.
Yeah.
So they put the speedo in the middle.
Okay, fair enough.
And it saved time and cost and effort.
We used to have one of these. We never got round to restoring it.
This is completely original. This has never been restored.
Really?
All I've done to it is put a new floor in it and a new wiring loom.
Yeah.
Because it was rotten, and that was it. It's got the original engine and gearbox, original leather seats. It is completely unmolested.
Original? Have they survived?
Totally original.
I mean, I know people. Yes, people say they don't make them like they used to, but like my BMW E46 seats are ruined. You know what I mean? Exactly. It's like a quarter of the age of this.
Exactly.
So what's this one?
Come on to the Mini. This is actually a very early 1960, in fact April 1960.
Yes.
This is actually one of the pre-production models.
It's a lovely colour.
Because this is Clipper Blue, because the recesses are missing for the windscreen rubbers.
Okay.
And
the colour.
And the story is
under the dust.
Yeah, sorry about the dust. The story is that Alec Isiagonis, who was the designer, he was basically dragging his heels getting the Mini out, because they started designing the Mini in 1956. And unfortunately, Fiat brought the Fiat 500 to this country
Oh, right,
in
yeah.
April 1958. Nothing was really said or done, but by 1959, early 59, Alec was being given a lot of grief by Mr. Morris, because it was still separate companies then, to basically get the car out as soon as possible, otherwise he was going to lose his job.
Oh, right.
So basically what they did, they rushed it into production, and the two areas they didn't have ready were the front and rear windscreen scuttles.
Okay.
So the story is that Pilkington, who make the glass, were brought in on shift work, early and late shifts, to actually hand cut the windscreen areas out and fit the glass. But because they wanted to start making the cars on a night shift, Pilkington said no, we're not doing it anymore. So then they were forced by the end of 1960 to sort the jigging out and the tooling to make it a recessed windscreen rubber. And I think there's only about 500 or 600 of these shells left.
Wow.
Again, completely original number, original engine, original gearbox.
I'm blown away by your knowledge, if anything. Never mind the cars.
So I spent a few years in the motor industry. So I actually did my apprenticeship with Cooper's Pay and the gasket manufacturers in Slough.
Oh, really?
So that's how I started.
No way.
And that's when it was still paying before they were bought out. But yeah, it's completely original. The very early ones also didn't have a chrome grille to save money, so they had a white grille, which was hand painted. They had a couple of other slight problems with the floor pans and so on, which was, everyone knew about how the Minis used to leak like a sieve.
Yeah.
And then by the end of 1960, they'd ironed all the problems out. And then that was the Mark 1 Mini then, which ran from the end of 60 right up to 67, when it was replaced with the Mark 2. But it still retained the sliding windows.
Yeah. The sliding, I didn't even see the sliding.
But it was actually Wolseley and Riley who were building the Elf and the Hornet, who experimented with wind-up windows in the late 60s, which was adopted by the Mini in 1969 when BMC was formed, producing the Mark III Mini, which had wind-up windows.
You mentioned Riley. Riley's actually my second name. And
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, ideal.
And my dad was in the motor trade, but my
Was he?
mum and dad split up when they're very young.
Oh,
It's probably not a
crikey.
story for YouTube, but you're getting it anyway now.
Yeah.
And the way they spell Riley's quite original way. It's not like O'Reilly or you know. It's always a little bit different. So in my head, I'm attached to it in some way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's someone of my family's in.
Riley, that would have been an Elf.
Yeah, exactly. It's got the Alf grill, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the one thing Wolseley used to say, which was very distinctive, is that when you put the lights on, the badge lights up.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
That's a big modification these days when people do some VW.
That was very, very, yes, but they were doing that back in the mid-60s.
So you've given me a Ford that I don't know what it is.
This basically is a Ford Prefect.
Yeah.
Ford Prefect was introduced just after the Second World War as an E93A model. They then replaced it in 1955 as a 100E, and they produced this very distinctive shape, which is a car which a kid would draw if they were drawing a car for the first time. It's got a bonnet, a boot, and a cabin.
Is it the Harry Potter car?
No. Harry Potter car.
What was that?
Was a Ford Angular.
Yeah,
and
Angular.
that was a 105E.
Yeah.
Which I'll come on to in a minute.
All right.
This is linked. Basically, they ran the 100E, Prefect, and Angular, and Popular right through to 1959.
Yeah.
In 59, Ford's then decided they needed to move with the times and introduce a more advanced vehicle. Hence the introduction of the Harry Potter car,
Yeah.
the Ford Angular 105E. Unfortunately, what they realised is when the Prefect and the Angular finished, they suddenly realised they didn't have a four-door model,
Yeah.
because the Prefects will only have a four-door. They also had a stack of shells at Dagenham, around 38,000, which were never going to be used again.
Yeah.
Obviously, Henry Ford Jr. said this is not going to happen. So what they did, they retrospectively reintroduced the car as a Ford Prefect 107E. So what they did, they actually put the 105E engine and gearbox and back axle into a 100E. Because the 100E originally had a side valve engine.
Okay. Yeah.
So what they did then they basically produced a 4-door vehicle alongside the 105E until the shells were finished, which was in 1962. So the 105E only ran from December 59 through to June 1962.
Right.
And in terms of models left, there's very, very few of these left on the road. And more interestingly, according to the club, this is the earliest surviving 107E in the country.
No way.
Which has been confirmed by the chassis number.
So are you not restoring it then?
No, I will restore it. It's just I'm slightly busy at the moment.
Well done, we're
It
glitching.
will get done.
I think we're glitching. We might have to charge for a bit.
Okay.
Yeah. Right, apologies about that. I've been on the road all day and everyone wants to talk to me because of Auto Alex's car and batteries went. So we've just had
Interlude.
Yeah, and you basically give me an encyclopedia worth of knowledge while the camera was off. But yeah, go ahead on, tell me about this engine.
Well, one of the things which was quite special about this engine, this was the first overhead valve engine which Ford introduced into a standard car. This was a 997 engine, overhead valve, non-cross flow, and this block then went on to be used by Cosworth to do all the development work on the famous BD engines, e.g. the BDA, BDBs, and so on, which was produced into all the racing vehicles.
So there you go, lads. There's the start of the famous Cosies.
Because it was literally their development. One of the most famous and quick development was actually the Lotus Cortina engine.
Yeah.
Which was also put into the Lotus Elan.
Doesn't look like much here, does it?
No, it doesn't. But literally that block, that's how it all started.
I love that about engineering. What have we got? What's on the shelf? It's just, that'll do. Exactly. And then we make it work.
Exactly.
Ooh.
And to be fair, as much as, Fords get a lot of criticism, one of their massive attributes is how they use and reuse again and make a very good job of it as well.
Yeah.
But so the 107E only ran for about 3 years, and then when the body shells ran out, that was it.
Yeah.
And then they introduced it. The replacement to that then was the Ford Capri Classic, and then the rest is history.
Always wanted the Capri. That was their slogan. Once it's the car you always promised yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I have been promising myself one for God knows how long, and they're getting rustier and rustier.
They are. Well, the Capri Classic ran from 62 right through to the 66, and then the Ford Capri replaced it in 1968.
I do apologise if I cut his head off at some point, but I'm looking at stuff and I should be looking at the screen. But I'm sure you can understand. The main bit is the knowledge you're passing on here. So what's this?
This one is our very famous Austin A30.
Okay.
The reason it was called an A30 is the A stood for Austin.
Yeah.
And the 30 stood for the horsepower the engine was producing.
30. There's another 300 in the Jag on top of that.
Exactly. Now again, this particular engine was the very first overhead valve engine which Austin produced, and it was specially designed for this vehicle, and this was known as the A series. And this A series then went on to be put into the vast majority of Austin and Morris vehicles right the way through until 2000. They made 9 different cc capacities, including the Cooper S's, 1275s, 998, 1100s, and so on and so on.
Kept everything originally, got the old coil.
Yeah, all completely original. These came out in 1951, and they were launched at the Earl's Court Motor Show, which is where it used to be held then.
Okay.
And they were mainly introduced for export. Mm. Very few of the AS3s, which is the very first model, which this is, was actually produced in this country. And it wasn't until the Queen was crowned in 1953 that they reintroduced this into the United Kingdom. And then they realised there was a couple of aspects on the vehicle which were not very good attributes for sales. Yeah. So they upgraded things like the dashboard, changed the grille, changed the door locks and so on, and produced the Austin A30 2-door, because they were only ever made in a 4-door version.
Sure. It's just so pretty back then.
Exactly. You know that you've got the round speedo.
Yeah.
Well, Austin were very good at that because that actually came out of the Austin Devon.
Okay.
And it was also fitted to the Austin Somerset.
Everyone just nicked parts from everyone else.
Yes. We talk about people being green now. They were doing it 60 years ago.
Oh, I think green now is restoring a car, not buying a Tesla.
Definitely.
100%.
Definitely.
So speaking of engines, show you beautiful condition of this Wolseley. Again, another thing we were talking about while the camera was off.
As I said, that's just as
Ah, but there's enough light there.
just as Wolseley would have produced it in the factory, just south of Birmingham, and this is completely original engine and gearbox. All the vehicles which were built in this country, I've got heritage certificates for, and that gives you the original specification as they left the factory. And all I've simply done is just follow what was on there.
No way. So have you put the original stamping back on?
Yeah, original sticker back on there, which is actually an aluminium riveted label. I've even got the original Cooper's label here for the air filter, because he was the original manufacturer.
You've gone to town, mate. People are going to love that.
And I think it's only done about 80,000 miles from new.
I don't even think I've ever had a car that's done less than that.
Exactly.
I just buy pure garbage.
But yeah, all completely original. As I said, the only alteration I have made to it is on the suspension.
Yeah.
Because from '64 to the end of production, they used to fit the wet suspension known as hydroelastic.
Yeah.
And hydroelastic suspension was supposedly to be very comfortable, which it was. But as time went on, they realised it used to leak, used to fail MOTs, and so on and so on. And today, the displacer units, of which you need one on each wheel, are extremely expensive to get reconditioned. You cannot buy new, and it just wasn't cost effective. Luckily, because of the interchangeability of it, I fitted an early rear dry subframe on the back and converted it to dry suspension, just like the Mini. And on the front, I was able to modify the front subframe rather than buying a new one to actually fit the rubber cone suspension as well and convert that to dry without any real effort. So other than that, the car is completely original. But originality is everything I've gone for.
Yeah.
I haven't modified, I haven't customised, tuned, or changed anything at all. It's as it left the factory.
No, that's fine. And then the car of the hour, the one that got my attention.
Yeah. Now this is actually one of the last minivans made in the United Kingdom.
Beautiful.
The mini production for the van started in May 1961, just after the Mini was introduced, along with the pickup. And the production continued right through after the merger in 1969 of BMC. And then obviously the reenactment of Austin and Austin Morris. And they ran these right through to 1982, December 82. This, however, has been registered in May 1983, which makes it one of the last surviving vans in the United Kingdom.
And you went to get this from Newcastle under Lyme, right?
I collected this in Newcastle under Lyme, all the way up there.
Restored it?
No, I bought it as it stands.
Okay, yeah.
I believe somebody else has done the restoration.
Okay.
But again, they've kept it fairly original, apart from, unfortunately, the walnut dashboard, which was very much a sort of a luxury accessory you could get from people like Ripspeed International and so on and so on.
It's beautiful.
It is.
You want it original, don't you? I can hear it in your voice.
Again, it's not as it would have left the factory.
Yeah.
But it's fine. As it's not so much a classic original vehicle, which I'm looking for. This is more my daily runabout.
Yeah, it's actually his daily.
And, I'm probably doing about 400 miles a week.
If you look, there's, that's just a reflection of me.
Yeah.
But there's all his tools and everything because he's a plumber. And this is his actual daily driver. Oh, there we go. Look at that.
So yeah, all ready for the next boiler breakdown.
Imagine that, you need your toilet unblocking and this guy turns up in this. We'd never get nothing done, you just talk to him all
The
day.
thing is, locally, everyone knows Mad Andy the plumber.
There you go.
We're always doing something like this.
So what have we got over here?
Right, well this vehicle here is a Fiat 500.
Yep.
They were introduced in this country in April 1958, but they were actually introduced in Italy in July 1957. They replaced the Fiat Topolino, and funny enough they were actually introduced as a little bit of a last resort because Fiat had made a bit of a mistake with the Fiat 600 because that was introduced in 1955 as a city car, but unfortunately it was too long. This, however, is less than 3 meters long and made it the perfect city car.
Well, for them, the perfect city car is the Mini.
This vehicle has actually got the suicide doors, so the hinges are actually on the B post rather than the A post. This was obviously how they were built from 57 onwards, but these actually had to finish because the regulations for seatbelt anchorage came out in October 1964, and literally a few months afterwards this particular model had to finish. Of this model, which is known as a D series, there's only 60 of these left in the United Kingdom.
No way.
Of the genuine right-hand drive version.
Yeah.
And luckily this one still retains its original number plate, which came from West Wales.
So have you done some rallies in it? Is that what this is here?
Yeah, basically, when I rebuilt the vehicle back in 2017 in Italy was the 60-year anniversary of the Fiat 500 being introduced. So what I did, I rebuilt this, had it ready just in time to go over. We drove from here, living in the West Country, down to Plymouth. We went over to Roscoff, and then we drove diagonally right across France, up and over the Alps and down into Italy, where we joined another 2,500 other Fiat 500s from all over Europe, and basically spent a long weekend enjoying rallies and looking at each other's cars.
Amazing.
Absolutely amazing. It was 2,500 mile round trip and it never missed a beat.
No way.
The other strange anomaly we had is that when we got to the Fiat 500 Italy Club house, we had already pre-booked our entrance tickets. We were given our entrance ticket, which is here.
Yeah.
And strangely enough, I thought they had made a mistake with the number. It's the same number, just happens to be my registration number.
Oh, right, yeah, of course it is, yeah.
That was just a complete and utter fluke and a total coincidence.
So it's rare on rare now, boy.
It's rare, definitely. The strange thing was the lady behind the desk who was actually dealing with our application got so spooked by it she couldn't deal with us anymore, and the gentleman had to take over. And I never saw her after that.
Sometimes the stars and the line.
They do. We then had another tour, being a member of all the cars, I'm a member of all the clubs. We had another tour over to Jersey and Guernsey back in 2019, and that was, needless to say, a much shorter journey. I had to drive to Poole to get the ferry across, but needless to say the Jersey and Guernsey are not very large islands, so we didn't do a lot of miles.
No.
But again, it was something we did because the Fiat 500 UK club have been invited as special guests to the big motor historic setup on Jersey, and we had pride of place in the centre of their exhibition. So the club asked us, as many club members, to obviously get their cars over.
And this little anomaly.
Well, these are as rare as hen's teeth now. This is actually...
I'm shocked you've got something that's rare.
This is a Trojan 200 bubble car.
Yeah.
They were first introduced under the banner of Heinkel, which was a German manufacturer in 1956, which they were imported from 56 to 60. In 1960, Heinkel realised they were having problems with import taxes.
Yeah.
So what they did, they contacted a British company called Trojan, who were making lorries and small vans at the time, and basically
Oh, we're okay.
Basically how it opens to get in. It's basically a single door, and you have the driver and the passenger.
Have you got no reverse gear in these, so you can't get out? Oh, it does have reverse gear.
The reason the
pedals just like chilling out on the road,
just literally there
outside the car.
They literally, the reason they were concerned about the single door aspect is why they had to have a sunroof.
Yeah.
Because if there was ever an accident, that was your means of escape.
Yeah.
And also for fire and so on.
Or if you roll it, you're getting thrown from that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But basically what they did, these were made under licence by Trojan in Croydon, south of London. And they were produced from 1960 through to about late 65. Again, the introduction of the seatbelt laws was the demise of these, along with the fact they became quite unpopular from a point of view of safety, because they realised as roads were getting busier, when accidents were happening, people were getting seriously injured.
Seatbelts just get in the way, don't they?
Well, this is it.
Well, don't put that on YouTube. So, in the interest of battery life, what else have we got here?
It's actually a Fiat 600.
Okay.
So
we don't have to. We can just have a gloss over.
As I said about the 500, the 600 was actually introduced first in 1955, and it didn't really replace any vehicle as such. It was actually quite a revolutionary design.
See if I can get around the other side. You keep talking, I can sort the audio out.
Whereas other models have been replacements and upgrades, the Fiat 600 was new on the road and the new kid on the block. But as I said, they realised that quite late 55 that even though it was introduced as a city car, the likes of Rome and Milan and Turin were so congested even then, they needed something smaller, which is why the 500 came out.
Almost looks Beatleish on the back quarter. Yeah. I mean, a load of VW kids are going to go nuts at me for saying that, but
no, there is definitely a similarity.
Yeah,
rear engined, but whereas the 500 is actually air cooled, this was actually water cooled.
Okay.
And interestingly, this block actually went on to power quite a few of the later Fiat models, which came out right through to the late 90s, such as the Fiat Panda,
I love a Panda.
Fiat Uno.
Panda was my first, well, can it be my first car? I didn't have a licence. So much I can't put in my YouTube. I just turn the volume down on that. And is this?
Yeah, it was basically a very, very popular block. Increased out in many different sizes. Went into the Fiat 127, Fiat 126, Fiat 124. The list was endless. So where we have Fords reusing and reusing and reusing, so did Fiat as well.
And this a mini estate, is there?
It's basically a van with the windows cut out. It was basically a project I bought, thinking I had the time to put it on the road. And
we all do that.
So basically what I'm going to do with this, I'm just going to put it back together and sell it. Sell it as a project for someone, probably next month when spring starts to come.
Yeah, someone will have it. If I had more space and things set up, I would have it myself.
Yeah, exactly. The vans are very, very rare.
But I haven't.
So no, that's something I'm just going to be getting rid of, and not really doesn't really feature in my sort of projects, really. That's it. As you can probably gather, a lot of people don't have the luxury of one classic car. I've obviously got a few more than that. But, always very lucky. I feel I've got the space, I've got the room, and
you got a beautiful collection.
And
thank you for showing him to me.
That's
What
right.
a legend, thank you.
You're very, very welcome.
Yeah.
Lovely to meet you.
I just met him at a petrol station, had a pretty car.
Well, it just goes to prove you never know what's around the corner.
Yeah, car guys are the best.
Oh, definitely.
I was supposed to
100%.
turn up at like, what, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock? I've turned up at what, 9, 10?
No problem.
Because
It doesn't matter, I did a load of jobs beforehand.
everyone keeps seeing Auto Alex's car, talking to me, so car guys are the best. Also, look at his tools. Have we got enough battery? We got a little. What were them again?
These are actually because I've got very early vehicles, the A30 and the Morris are 53 and 54, they're actually still Whitworth.
Yes.
And the reason Whitworth was introduced was simply it came about from the steam industry.
Yeah.
And basically what it used to give you was actually the thread rather than the size of the nut.
So absolutely useless.
Which was completely and utterly useless. Hence the introduction of an AF size, which is obviously the imperial and now metric.
Oh, just a wealth of knowledge. Well, thank you very much for your time.
You're very welcome. Absolute pleasure.
Wow, that was absolutely crazy. Turned up at Andrew's place. What an encyclopedia of a man. I'm shattered. It's great. Everyone's come out to see the car. Everyone's stopping, have a conversation. But it's like, what time is it now? 11 o'clock at night. I was supposed to get here at 4 in the afternoon. I got here at like 9 something. And now I'm leaving at 11. And I've got, was it a 3-hour drive to Bath? 2 hours, 3 hours, something like that. I'm hypermiling on my own, so yeah. Without further ado, let's get to Bath, let's get to the hotel, and yeah, put some music on for you and look at the journey. Finally arriving in Bath with a boot full of chicken wings and a head full of caffeine, I found a suitable parking space that's perfectly legal and retired for the night. Desperate for the toilet and a long hot shower, I checked into the Hilton and got settled for the night. Right, that's me checked into my hotel, Hilton in Bath. I've stayed in a few nice hotels this trip actually. The Cape Cornwall Club, that was really nice at Land's End. That was before I started the journey. Nice gym, barn conversions. Sorry, I'm tired. Barn conversions turned into really nice gaffs, and the one in Bournemouth was really nice. Mayrick Lodge, really nice staff. So that's me done. I'm so ready for bed. Chicken wings and the Grand Tour, because I keep starting the sand job and I fall asleep straight away because I'm so tired. So I will see you tomorrow. Join us next week as we take in the amazing sights around Bath's beautiful city centre. I check out the Abbey, I take in a nice well-deserved spa, and end up in a bit of light dogging. The car there, it's dogging.